Not a ton of news for Impact this week. So there was a story that broke last week, and it wasn't quite out there, and I didn't really cover it here because it was a spoiler. Hold on, swig of coffee. It wasn't quite out there, and so I didn't talk about it last week during my 2 Q&A podcasts. Oh, by the way, check those out. Go on Patreon. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, they're there. But I actually went ahead and released them like eventually to everybody on YouTube. And so I plan to do more of those. And, you know, TNA is very likely to take off, the last couple weeks of the year, if not both weeks, but I know they'll at least take 1 week off. Because if you look at the schedule, like they have final resolution in like early December, and then they have that TV taping, and that's probably going to carry them for like I don't know when Hard to Kill is or when they're taping in January. So that TV taping is probably going to carry them for a while. So um, we'll probably do something again in 2025, and I'll also do like an award show and things like that. So I got to keep our show going even when TNA takes off. And so that's what we did last week. TNA was off for the week. And so what I did is I did 2 Q&A shows. Well, I did 1 Q&A show and I did a SWOT analysis based off of a Q&A question that I had. So that I made that a separate show based off of necessity because of things I had going on. I couldn't do both at the same time. So go ahead and check that out. But it actually broke last week, and it was a spoiler, and I did not want to get into spoiler talk, but it's out there everywhere. So if you have not been spoiled by it and you're listening to this, you can fast forward a couple minutes, or you can bow out. But there is a match that's been set for Bound for Glory. Even Gail Kim retweeted it, so I'm just like, okay, it's out there. TNA wants you to know, and it's not like you're not giving away the result of a match. So it just the graphic has not appeared on TNA television yet. So, but this is a big match for Bound for Glory, and AAA is sending Vikingo to Bound for Glory. Okay. I think everybody kind of knows that already. And most of the people, I would say 90% of the people that know that Vikingo's going to Bound for Glory also know that he is going to be challenging Speedball Mike Bailey for the X Division Championship. So there was the spoiler. That was what I did not want to say last week because it just wasn't out there. But Dave had it in the newsletter. It's been all over a bunch of the sites. Gail Kim even retweeted something about it. So it's out there. TNA wants you to know. They're not hiding it. And it's not, I didn't give away the result of a match. Although if you thought that Leon Slater was winning next week, sorry, you probably don't really watch wrestling very much if you thought Leon Slater had a chance of winning. Hold on, a swig of coffee for Leon. But yeah, that's a huge match. And that is 2 years in a row that Speedball is getting to face an outsider who is a major star from around the world, a major international star who has been featured all over. He's been on TNA before, but he's also been featured all over AEW. He's been injured for a little bit, but he has recently returned. He actually was in the Glate promotion this past week that also featured Ricochet, and the Rascals were on there, so it was a big show. But yeah, so this is a huge match. Is it a big money drawing match? No, it's not. But that doesn't mean it's not a big match. It is a big match. And it reminds me very much of Speedball versus Ospreay from last year. Where it's like, we don't need a story. All we need is 2 guys out there having a badass match. 2 guys out there having a badass match. And that's what this is. And I like the fact that they do this at Bound for Glory. It's just a featured special attraction, but now it's also an X Division title match, which adds a layer of the story. It adds a layer of drama to the scenario. Okay. Now we got to get into, well, what do you do? It looks like Speedball very much is out the door in Impact. Vikingo is committed to AAA. AAA and AEW is on the outs. So he is no longer working AEW. And I think there's a very real possibility that Vikingo wins the X Division championship and then he becomes a featured performer on TNA for a little while. I could be wrong. And in fact, a lot of times I am. This is just me like guy who watches wrestling and just has an opinion, right? I could be wrong, but I think it's a very real possibility that Vikingo wins this match. And then, but I also think that they're kind of telling the story right now with Speedball that oh shit, hold on. They're also telling the story of the Speedball right now that he is kind of looking out for, he has been looking out for Leon Slater a little bit. And that maybe we're going to do a passing of the torch moment with Leon Slater. They could also have Speedball retain and then ultimately pass the torch to Leon Slater, and maybe Vikingo sticks around or maybe he doesn't. Who knows? I think lots of possibilities, but that's also why I like the matchup. I do hope that TNA, although the TNA audience is pretty familiar with Vikingo, I do hope that they get a lot of footage from AAA and do some video packages and really introduce just how badass this guy is. With Will Ospreay, you really didn't need to do that because he was like a already kind of a big star in North America compared to some of the other talent that TNA already has. Vikingo is a star. He's a big star, but I still think that, you might want to, tell the story of Vikingo a little bit before we get to the match, right? Like what makes Vikingo tick? Like when did he start wrestling, right? Who are his influences? Like interview Conan, get Conan in on that deal, explaining who Vikingo is and why he's such a big deal and why he's such a major attraction for AAA. Really get that aspect of it so that way, we have more of a why as we head into the Bound for Glory. I think that would be cool. And then, but the people that are going to be in the building are going to be intimately familiar with both wrestlers, and they're going to know and understand that this is just a huge match, which is exactly what we got with Speedball and Ospreay last year. We only really got like a couple of promos from Ospreay heading into the match, but when it came time to bell time there in Chicago, the crowd was going apeshit. They were going crazy, like at the bell. They were holy shitting at the bell. That's how you know that was a big match. And Ospreay was able to move tickets for TNA. I don't think Vikingo's going to move tickets, but they don't need Vikingo to move tickets because I don't have the latest update. Hold on, I'll check Twitter. I don't have the latest update from Dobby, but I don't have the latest update from Dobby, but we reported last week that they're like well over 92%, 92% sold for their floor seats for Bound for Glory. I mean, they're going to do well over 2,000 seats, which is very good for TNA. They can do well over 2,000 seats. It's going to be the largest U.S. attended show that they've done in a long time. It's going to break the record that they set in San Antonio with 2,100 seats. And I think it's going to be the largest gate that they have done in a long time. So kudos to them. And I'm very much looking forward to Vikingo and Speedball Mike Bailey. And I get corrected here. I said you could have said if Speedball retains. Like, brother, I get it. I get it. If I were like a paid contributor to TNA, that's probably what I said. But this is more of a news show, like I'm not a journalist, but this is more of a news show. So I felt pretty comfortable not having to say that. Billy said Bailey wrestled Vikingo on Game Changer, and it was outstanding. If anybody has a link to that match, let me have it. If it's isolated, I don't want to watch too much of GCW, although I might be going to see them live here pretty soon. And then Io says, yeah, they'll put out some highlights. They'll put out some highlights. Yes, they will. I'm sure that they will. Let's see. The next story is, like I said, there's not a ton of news, so I'm going to just kind of breeze right through this stuff. Xia Li or Xia Zhao or Lei Ying Li is now official. She has signed with TNA Impact, although TNA has not made the announcement. Gail Kim was on a podcast recently, and I had it in my notes, but I forgot what the name of the podcast was. So I do apologize. Let me see. I do apologize. So here I'm pulling up the story right now. Okay. All right. Yeah, Gail Kim confirms Lei Ying Lee, formerly known as Xia Li, has signed with TNA Wrestling. She made her debut on the September 26th episode of TNA Impact, and she defeated Hyan in a singles match. Hyan is somebody that people are saying that TNA should sign. She didn't really get any offense, so it's hard to really gauge how good she was on that show, but people speak highly of her. Gail Kim did a virtual signing with K&S WrestleFest, and Lei Ying Lee came up in a conversation. Kim spoke highly of her and noted that she was signed to TNA. Here's the quote: "Zaya's great. She's with us. Yeah, she just signed. I'm really excited for her. She's such a hard worker. She's so passionate. And experiencing that first match of TNA with us, because that's all she's had so far, was really nice. She actually exceeded my expectations. What a presence. I think a lot of people were surprised that she was let go. That's just kind of the conversations I've had. Everyone I've talked to in WWE speaks so highly, from office to talent, speaks highly of her. She's doing MMA. She's doing wrestling. I mean, what a woman." So there you go. We've challenged them to sign more talent, and challenge is accepted. Lei Ying Lee is now signed to TNA Wrestling. Okay. And Josiah says Hyan is quite good. Okay. I just want to see some evidence of it. I'd like to see evidence that she is very good. I hear people say she's good. I just have not witnessed it myself. Now you're probably going to say, well, Mike, you can go out and look. I was like, and you know what? Touche. You are right. you are right. All right. Let's see. Like I said, there's not really a ton of news to talk about. But I am. So people have asked me, Mike, are you going to be covering the upcoming MLPW show, the Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling show? They got 2 pay-per-views coming up on Triller, and it's a Scott D'Amore led promotion. So I think it's Friday the 18th and Saturday the 19th, I believe, on Triller. So night 1, I'm going to go ahead and cover. I'm going to cover the so it's October 19th, October 20th. Well, the answer to the question is yes. I'm going to be watching both shows. I will have reaction shows. I'm going to try to do like 2 separate shows, but if I can't get the 2, I might just condense it into one giant show, maybe like on the Monday, the 21st, because I'm on paternity leave. So I will need some shit to do. And so I'll probably do that. All right, so let's take a look at night 1. A little bit of a preview here. I just want to get an update for it, and I wanted to laugh at one of the matches. All right. Night 1 is a Takeshita versus Speedball. Jesus, that match is going to freaking rule. Rohan Raja versus Jake Something for the inaugural PWA Championship Grail. Bhupinder versus QT. All right, so this is the one that I wanted to laugh about. You can take D'Amore out of TNA, but you can't take the TNA out of D'Amore. Tables match. Bully Ray versus Jinder freaking Mahal. You know, I was seeing that main event, and I was like, damn, that main event is badass. And then it's like, okay, Rohan Raj, I've never heard of that guy, but let's give him a chance. Okay, Guja versus QT kind of stinks. And then you go to Bully Ray versus Raj Desi in a tables match. I'm like, okay, you guys have lost the fucking plot. That's like they're sending the bat signal out to everybody that that this is very much going to be a TNA influence, the show. But like it tracks with what Scott D'Amore likes to book. It very much tracks with what he likes to book. And in fact, I think somebody tweeted it. I don't remember who did it, but Raj Desi would be facing Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth in the main event of Bound for Glory if Scott D'Amore was still in charge. I absolutely believe that would, if not the main event, that would have been a marquee matchup, or Desi would have been on Bound for Glory. Like he would be a major focal point of the company. Former WWE champion who's from Canada that he knows. I absolutely believe that Desi would be a major focal point in the company. Plus, like he's close with Gama Singh. That's Desi's uncle, right? Gama Singh was on Impact for a while. And then of course you got Raj Singh in the company, so there's a family connection there. Like this is their cousins. So I absolutely believe that he would have been in the company. But they got let's see. Laney Luck versus Taylor Rising versus Callie Ray versus Aurora Teves. I only know who a couple of those people are. This match looks pretty cool. Josh Alexander, Stu Grayson, El Phantasmo versus Trevor Lee, whom I'm surprised is not in TNA at this point. And I don't understand why he's not. Versus Trevor Lee, Rocky Romero, and Alex Zane. And then, of course, Giselle Shaw versus Miyu Yamashita. And if Yamashita wins, she's going to be added to the Ring of Honor title match on night 2. Yamashita keeps working these shots in the States. Like, she is a person that should be in TNA, like, full-time. And I don't understand why she's not. And the night 2 has Alexander versus Takeshita in the main event, which should fucking rule. And then, of course, Ring of Honor Women's World Championship, Athena defending her title against Giselle Shaw. It looks like Scott D'Amore is trying to get Giselle a job in Ring of Honor. So, which I don't think he's gonna have to try very hard. I think eventually they're gonna probably pick her up. She's pretty damn good. Let's go to the chat. Let's see. Io says check her match with Danny Luna at a DPW show. That's a Deadlock Pro. For good things about them. I also still got love for D'Amore. Yeah, I got love for D'Amore too. I make fun of D'Amore, but I actually like him. Billy says, I'm watching MLPW. Love the announcing team. Yeah, the announcing team sounds great. It's Don Callis and Mauro Ronaldo. It's very much right up my alley and very Canadian. Let's see. Rohan Raja was in the Desi Hit Squad as Gursinder Singh. Okay, I didn't know that. I did not know that. And then IO Production said Stu Grayson is a talented guy. Yeah, Stu Grayson. Man, he's had multiple stints in AEW, but hopefully if this MLPW thing picks up steam and they get some type of TV deal in Canada, maybe he can work pretty regularly. So that would be cool.